I'm a local hippie, and today we're going to be talking about this stack of books. Okay, so now that we are in the lovely year of January, no, now that we are in the lovely month of January in the new year of 2024. Hey, we're in the lovely year of 2024. It is time to reflect on the best books I read last year in 2023.
Hello, Kristen in editing here. I don't know where the heck I got 176 books from. I read 179 books. Um, so yeah. So when I say I read 113 books and that this is my 5-star reads is literally 10% of that, that's what I mean. Not that, yeah, I'm not, I know how to do maths.
66 of that entails the 66 books of the Bible. So those I'm not going to count because all of those books are a collective. And honestly, I just wanted to kind of use my Bible reading as a way to like boost up my boost up my reading, and it did. It did. I have only got 13 really outstanding books. That's 10% of what I read. We're just going to chalk it up to 10%, which is like, wow, especially since I read in order to find books that make me feel like this. And to know that 13 of the 100 and whatever books I read last year were that is pretty depressing. So let's begin, shall we? So first, and this is in no particular order, first we have a book written by my favorite author. This is a work of nonfiction by Stephen King, and it's called On Writing, a Memoir of the Craft. I love this book. I loved it. It was so good. I love to write. I like to consider myself a writer. It's like one of the biggest hobbies in my life. And so this, I needed to. I needed to. Whenever I found out that Stephen King had a book on writing, I had to pick it up. So we have George Orwell's Animal Farm. This was 5 stars. If uh, It's on my favorites of all times list. Like this would be a desert island book for me. Like if I could only choose a few books to take with me onto a desert island, and these are the only books I would have to read for the rest of my life, this book would be a part of that lineup. It was that good. It was amazing. It's so small. She is small, but she be mighty, okay? It made a believer out of me. It made me believe that I could read nonfiction when never in a million years, if you had asked me when I first started reading, if I was going to read anything other than romance, I'd have been like, nah, chief. But if you asked me if I was going to read nonfiction and actually enjoy it, especially on this topic, yeah. But that is The Psychology of Stupidity by this author. I don't want to butcher their name, so I'm not even going to try it. It's French. I don't speak French. Next one, again, 5 stars. This book is a masterpiece. This is in my top top three. This is top of the line. This is, again, a desert island book. That's Frankenstein by Miss Mary Shelley. She knew what she was doing when she wrote this. She knew what she was doing. We have another 5-star read, but let me just get into the weeds here, if you will. This book, I think objectively, is a masterpiece. Subject, which is why I gave it 5 stars, which is why I got 5 stars out of me. Subjectively, though, I, I only enjoyed three or four, and that's probably stretching it, of the stories that was in this compilation of short stories. But I still rated the book 5 stars, and I still plowed through and read it because I think it is important for readers. If you want to be a serious reader, if you want to learn from what you read, and if you want to grow your knowledge and 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 kind of nurture your intelligence, you're going to have to read things you don't like. Um, while also respecting and appreciating the text objectively for what it is. And that is what I did with James Joyce's The Dubliners. This book was beautiful. It wasn't beautifully written or anything like that. None of the stuff that I'm usually super into happened in this book. It wasn't very entertaining. The writing wasn't poetic or anything like that. This compilation of short stories is literally, to me, just a study on the human condition and on the human tendency to settle and to not go after our greatest potential. That was what this book was. That was what it did for me. That was what it taught me. That was what I took away from it through each and every one of these stories. And I appreciated it for that, even though subjectively I didn't really enjoy it that much. Objectively, this book is amazing and I think everybody should read it. We're getting to my favorite novel of all time in Melville's Moby Dick. I love this book. This book is a desert island book. This book is top three. This book is number one of top three, okay? Like, it, the only other book I like more than this, I love more than this, is my Bible, okay? Okay. Since we got that out of the way, OMG. Please, please, please. I love this book. I don't know what else to say about it. It is, it's so good. I love Moby Dick. Next, we have War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I read this twice last year. Um uh and I rated it 4.5 stars. Wasn't quite a 5 star, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely and I thought it deserved a spot on this list. My favorite books of all time. All time, all time, all time, all time, all time, all time. Pet Cemetery, Stephen King. I will never shut up about this book. This is, I don't even know. It's fighting for a spot up there between Moby Dick and Frankenstein because I gotta tell you, those two books are like the. Mm. But this book, I think it's number three. It was number one at one point, but I think it's number three. It's top three. It is number three. But I still love this book. I love how Stephen King writes his characters. I think he really shined in this book, and what he did with it was just chef's kiss. Next, we have another book that I rated pretty high, the high fours, which was Normal People by Sally Rooney. We have The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides, another high four. I thought this was really good. Um, this was another book. I read it previously, attempted to read it 2 times, DNF'd, but this time around with a different understanding, with more time and experience. under my belt, um, I view this book in a completely different light, and it was excellent. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was a masterpiece. I think the way that Jeffrey Eugenides went about writing this story about these girls was genius. So we have this. We have Tess of Derbyville by Tom Hardy. This book is not for the faint of heart, okay? But I get this. I got this book, okay? The girlies that get it, and the girlies that don't. This book is only going to be for a certain kind of person, okay? And for that person, it will be just so beautifully heartbreaking. Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City. Listen, I've read this one twice in 2023. Upon my second reading, I was like, why the Sam hell did I rate this 5 stars? Why? It's so boring. And then I got to the last 70% of the book. Listen, do you know how good the last 70% of a book has to be, and that's this big, in order for me to rate it 5 stars instead of 3? 2 whole stars more than what I was originally planning to. Do you know? You understand how good that, when I say the end of this book murdered me, it murdered me, okay? And like, it was good enough for me to rate this 800-page book. Not the last 70%, please. The last 20%, okay? Which means that 80% of this book was like, what the hell is happening? Like, it was 3-star material. And then you get to the end, and you're like, whoa, whoa. Yeah, that's what happened to me reading this, and that is why I rated it 5 stars. Last 5-star book of the year for me, and that was my little baby from Lukov, With Love. This book, it wasn't perfect, but it hit all the spots that it needed to hit. And it's one of those ones, it doesn't stand up to a lot of the books on this list, but sometimes you just rate things 5 stars because they were a good time and they made you feel something. And that is the case for me with From Lukov, With Love. Mentioned this belongs on this list, firmly placed, might I add, on this list, and that's going to be Nightwork by Nora Roberts. This book was so good, and so good. Please forgive me. So good. And bring us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good evening. And most importantly, I hope you read a good book. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye. Still wanna try.